The chair recognizes the Minister for Transportation and Works.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and certainly honor for me to stand again, and thank you to my colleague across the way who realized that that's the principle of sharing, and appreciate that. It's been another long night, Madam Chair, and certainly and more to come, which is, we don't have a problem with that from the honourable member. We enjoy it because it's giving us an opportunity to really get our message out. As I said earlier this morning, I just want to talk for a minute about the emails, because I really appreciate emails, and what I've basically done, as I said before, I might have missed a couple or two, because it's very difficult, because you put yourself in an awkward position if you said you have responded to every email, and then all of a sudden someone says, well, you missed me, and that's unfortunate. So I'm not going to say I responded to every email, but as much as I know I've responded to just about everyone has been addressed to me personally. And what I've done, Mr. Chair, when I have responded, I haven't just responded and said thank you for your email. I've talked about a few things, and I'm just wondering, the member for Mount Pearl North was up a few minutes ago talking about his email. It's very easy to talk about emails. I'm just wondering about the response to the emails, because actually one of the emails he read out was with regard to the, if I remember correctly, to full-day kindergarten. And when he talked about full-day kindergarten, the email that he read out, that he received, talked about the fact that there was somewhere 40 million or whatever the amount was with full-day kindergarten. I'm just wondering if the member opposite responded to that email and said, thank you so much for the email, but I just wanted to point out to you that our government spent $30 million in preparation for kindergarten, and the actual, this year, it's about 13 million. So I'm just wondering to what extent these emails are responded, because it's very easy if someone comes in with a negative email to say, go back and say, keep them coming, what you're saying is right. The honourable member for Mount Pearl Southlands read an email this morning talking about we should put 10 cents on every cup of coffee that's sold in Newfoundland and Labrador, but didn't do a whole lot of research on what would that equate to with regards to the temporary levy, because if he had done that, if he had done his research, it would have meant that every single Newfoundlander and Labradorian, man, woman, and child, would have to drink 60 cups of coffee a day. 60 cups of coffee a day. So, like, it's easy to get and read emails. It's easy to get and read emails, but you should really do some research. And I would have responded. I would have done some research on that.
Order, please. Getting a little noisy in there.
I would have responded. I would have checked out, and I would have responded to the person on the email and said, well, thank you very much for your suggestion, because it's a good suggestion. However, according to what I would have, this is what you would have to do in order to be able to equate that. So these are issues. The other thing, I like talking to people, and I just like to, I don't know if I'm permitted to do this, but I like to recognize the young man in the gallery who I left a few minutes ago and had a very, very intelligent chat with, a very intelligent young man who has been sitting there early hours of the morning and late hours in the evening, and really getting a good appreciation for what this is all about. And yes, absolutely. And I took the time this morning, I went up and sat with him and had a chat with him, and he's getting a really good, clear understanding of exactly where we are in this province. A young man who has concerns that he will be one of the ones that we've been talking about, that we're kicking this debt down to. Yes. That's what we're doing. This young man is concerned. Because we have a debt that we've never, ever seen in this province before. We've never seen it. Who do you think is going to pay for it? We can't raise taxes. We can't cut programs. Don't do this, don't do that. And we expect, what do we expect? Come on, what do we expect? We expect to give these young people a hope that they got to pay for our debt? That's not something that I want. And of course, the young gentleman up there will see people laughing. It's not a laughing matter. I am passionate about where we are in this province. And I know that people are going to be impacted by this. I have said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll say it again, whether we're here for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We will say it again and again, and the longer we're here in this situation, and the longer we're here in this type of forum, the better it is for us to get our message out, and we need to get it out. We need to get it out. Because I'm upset. I'm upset as a person having to sit here and listen to the fact you don't cut programs, you don't raise taxes, you can't do this, you can't do that. Just keep on borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. Well, we can't borrow. That's a problem. We can't borrow. We can't borrow. Well, what are you going to do? If you can't raise taxes, you don't have to be a mathematician, you don't have to be highly motivated, you don't have to need a degree in mathematician to be able to determine if you can't raise taxes and you can't cut expenses, how are you going to do it? You got to borrow. No, boy. You don't have to do it. This is an interesting exercise in mathematics. You've got expenses up here, you've got revenue down here, you can't do anything about it. So how are you going to close the gap? How can you close the gap? How can you do it? You have to borrow, or you are going to go into bankruptcy like my colleague talked about last night, where some other countries that have per capita the same as we have that are now in bankruptcy. And you can't do that.
Order, please.
You can't do that.
Order, please.
Mr. Chair.
Order.
You can't do that.
I'm ready to go now.
I am so upset. I am so upset. And I think the longer I'm here, the more upset I'm getting, because I've been hearing this thing over and over and over again. I have no problems in reading emails. I have no problems in reading emails. I've read them. I don't have any problems in reading positive and negative parts. But the truth is, the absolute total truth is that we are in a financial crisis that we need to address. We have to address it. And we cannot address it by doing nothing. We cannot address it. And Madam Speaker, it's important for us to realize that we cannot continue doing nothing. We cannot do that. We have to own a responsibility. And the responsibility that we have is to every Newfoundlander Labradorian, man, woman, and child, no matter if you're 102 or if you're 2. We have to deal with the problem that we're facing. We have to deal with that problem. And we cannot borrow our way out of our problem. That's the reason we are now. That's where we are. We have borrowed our way into a problem. We can't borrow our way out of the problem. There has to be some other way. And so we need to address that, Madam Speaker. And I will continue to be passionate about what I believe in. And I believe in this province. And I believe in every Newfoundlander and Labradorian has a right to live in this province with a hope for tomorrow, and our young people need a hope for tomorrow. And I believe I believe that we can do that by taking measures that will point us in the right direction and minimizing our reliance on debt.
Order,
Thank you, Madam
please.
Speaker.
Order, please. The chair recognizes